Hello everyone and welcome to the LSI F1 World Championship. There you go, just about. We're today for the Great British Grand Prix. And we're in the interconditions. I did think of a rhyme that I was going to open the stream with, but I completely forgotten what it was. It was something about jingle bells, inters all the way, I think. I don't know. Anyway, that's pretty bad. I've ruined the joke. Anyway, I'm just going to try and restart. Zingy on pole position, a 36.122 current, intermediate conditions, and it's a sprint race. Tyre-wise, the only question that you really have is, are you going to be doing a one stop or a no stop?
Yeah, I think in the sprint race it will be a no stop. And you want to save the tires, of course, for the race, because I think if you pit in the sprint race, you will get a used set in the actual race. Right. So you don't want it, of course. So I reckon they go for a zero stop.
Right. Fair enough. All right, here we go. Zingy's about to set an improvement lap. We'll go on board with him as we watch on board into turn one now. Missing the apex slightly, but it's wet conditions. Sometimes you have to take a slightly different line in the wet conditions. Not so much in the F1 game, but usually either in sims or in real life, you would take something that's called a karting line, in general terms, which is slightly wider. It gives you more grip in a way. That's maybe what Zingy was trying to do there. Maybe it was just a mistake. We'll still watch on board. Half a tenth up at the moment. He's got pole by a decent margin with a brand new driver, Riardi. Cohen will be able to pronounce that name a little bit better than me, but anyway, I'll try my best. They did set, apparently, a pretty good lap time before, and they would have been on provisional pole. But Zingy makes a mistake. We've got 3 minutes left of the session. Are you going to be able to set another lap if you were Zingy, Cohen, or is he going to have to go in now and try and come out again?
No, I think he will just turn off the ERS to recuperate, of course, and then just line up for another one. It's just very hard in these intermediate conditions, of course, because the traction is very hard to get right, and you have also the invalidations on Stowe and on the Cops corner, which are just very difficult to manage. So if you can manage to put in one good lap with all sectors combined together, then you have to be very happy, I think. But let's see what Zingy does.
Yeah, for sure. Track limits are very difficult around this circuit anyway, regardless of the rainy conditions, so it's going to be very, very tough for everyone to deal with. You've got Luke in P5 at the moment, and Andrew's about to start their final stint during qualifying. Yeah, we call them stints because you can set multiple laps during a session. Heisler recently, a 37.0, jumps himself into P3. And here we go with Luke as he crosses the line. What's it going to be for this guy? It's going to be a 2/10 improvement, and that is going to be a P2 for now, just ahead of Riardi, so good job there. Zingy, though, he's going to be looking to try and maintain that lead.
Yeah, Zingy putting in a purple first sector, so he managed that quite well. Now see how he goes to left field. Try and nail this exit as much as possible, because it's very easy to lose the backhand of the car. Try and cut as much as possible on this corner. And you go into the very fast right-hander, Cops corner, of course. Try not to invalidate here as it goes off the track. And it's not an invalidation, so all good. He can continue into Maggots and Beckett's, of course. Taking the first one very well, and then hugging the left side into the right side, and then you want to line it up for the straight. And let's see if he gets an improvement in this sector too. He does, with very marginal, half tenth around so.
Brilliant job from him so far. Into Stowe now, turn 15 that is, I'm pretty sure. Turn 16 is the chicane. He is going to set this lap time this time around, and he might even get another go at another lap. I don't know ERS-wise if it really helps you in the rainy conditions or not. Across the line regardless. So close to invalidating, and I think he had to lift to avoid it invalidating, and he's ended up missing out on that one. He's not going to set an improvement. I think he lifted as he crossed the line as well, so that's it. That is it for Zingy in qualifying. And Andrews, a 36.4. Still not enough to catch Zingy at the moment. He's running away with this one. He's got one more attempt though.
Yeah, Zingy has another attempt, but I don't think he can do it, as we see Nifo spun on the little straight, because yeah, he used all of his ERS of course, and he can't do another outlap to recuperate it and put in another, because there is just simply no time. But still, it's provisional pole. Maybe Luke can do something about it as he's going through the first sector, lining it up for the for Brooklands now. Let's see if he's up by his sector times. He is by 2/10. That's very good. Hopefully he can go through left field here again. As I said before, try to nail the exit as much as possible. He's staying in fourth for a long time as a little snap. Try and cut this as much as possible. Luke leaves a little bit of space on the right hand side. Then Cops corner against, you don't want to invalidate. He nails the apex very well, so that's very good by him. And then into Megas and backends again. Right and left of course. Now you want to set it up for the straight again. Don't drift too wide over here because you will touch the grass, and that's not good of course. He's lost a bit of time, but still up by a tenth. Maybe he can attack his teammates' time and take P2. Into Stowe, very hard to manage this one as well because it's a mid-medium corner where it's easy to lose the backhand. Then through the last chicane of course. Trying to not hit that red curve because it will set you off, and then line it up for the finish line. Let's see what Luke can do. Oh, and he has a big moment and he just spuns it. That was it by Luke. Very sad.
That is such a shame. That is such a shame at the very last moment. Still a P3, and you've got a sprint race to try and make positions up in a race condition situation, so not too bad in the end. Zingy holds on to pole position by a decent margin, and Andrew's P2, Luke in P3. We're going to quickly skim through the race director just in case. A lot of invalidations, and then we'll be back for the race. We'll see you in a minute. Ready, hold, go! Who's gonna get it into turn one? Ziggy gets away very well, and Andrews can't come back at him. It's side by side between the Mercedes. I think and Andrews is just gonna hold on just about. Is Ariardi going for a look on the inside of Luke? He will have a go, but no, has to go slightly defensive from the car on the inside now, which is Nifojan, who's had a brilliant start to this race, trying to make his way through, but a bit aggressive on the throttle. Very squirmy. He's got to be careful with that one. He wants to try and go aggressive like he did back in Belgium. It didn't work out from that time. This time he's going to give it another opportunity. Will he be able to get the move around the outside now? Is it going to work? I don't think it will. Not in the interconditions, surely not. Has a bit of a moment. We'll have to let it go, but that is the Aston Martin very close to the back of the Mercedes. They dissipate quite nicely. That is Zingy leading the way still.
Yeah, we are holding on to his position. Nifo attacking him very well, but just couldn't manage the traction and losing the car a bit. But he's still right behind him and can do very good stuff. He already managed to go up by 2 positions. As we see, and Andrews now just following Zingy. 6/10 is the gap. That's not that much. It went a bit big at the start, but he managed to reduce it very well. As we
Brings
see,
it back down.
yes.
Oh,
As Wiardi is now still behind Luke, trying to attack him, being very close. of course very hard to do this in the inter conditions as he brakes very late. And then into club, just lining it up, and he's very close. Maybe he can do it already over here. He's going for it already. No, he just backed out of it.
Very good opportunity, but it just wasn't enough in the end. Lap 209, we've still got a couple more laps to go, but he's going to send it nice and early to the inside line. That is Luke just about getting there on the exit. He seemed to have a lot more confidence. Side by side still onto the AstroTurf in the wet conditions. It's going to be so difficult. Will he get the run? Might have gone over track limits just a little bit there as he tries to get any sort of advantage. But now he's going to be troubled by Nifojan, who's going to send it to the inside line once again. Bit of deja vu. He's still within track limits just about. So very good stuff here. But Nifojan can't manage to get it to work on that outside line. He's going to have to try and do something different next time around.
We already going from offense to defense. Nifo attacking him again, trying to counter him from the attacks he's putting on Luke, and now he just has to settle down and stay behind. We already for the time being, as we go through Maggots and Beckett's again. Luke still managing, trying to catch up to his teammate because they lost a bit of ground, of course, while battling each other.
Very good stuff. Weardi, is he going to have a look here instead into Stowe? It seems like at the end of the straight he just loses the run. Maybe Luke is running slightly lower on the downforce, but on the exit he does seem to have some confidence on the traction, switches it to the inside line, tries to send it on the brakes to force Luke to leave space. He does spook him a little bit, and he's now going to go for the switchback maneuver to the inside line, and he's going to have it. That is Luke making a mistake going off the circuit. He's going to have the advantage going into time one, but around the outside Luke goes off the track limits. We don't see the cars in shot for a while, but now Nifo is into this battle. Pro might even have a look if he's not careful. There's a little bit of contact. We are these round. Nifojan to the outside line. He's into the grass. And here comes Pro on the inside. He's going to have a go now, and so is Hives. Everyone's getting involved at the moment. Nifojan just seeming to get back in front, but Pro's not going to give this one up. He's going to send it back to the inside line. Nifojan will now have the inside line into this corner, but with the other Aston Martin, he's going to have the advantage. Pro will have to just back off a minute, and we are already trying to get back through on the Red Bull, but no, it's not going to work. He has to give it up.
A lot of chaos right here. We are losing some positions, unfortunately, by the little tap they had, but he still managed to be very close to Gijs, of course, only a 10th, and yeah, Pro, yeah, turning his pace up very nice, overtaking two people right there, and now just being very close to Nifojan. So he's doing a very good job. Hopefully we already can get back to the top of it again. Let's see what he can do on Gijs at the moment. Is he going to...
job. He had some pretty good traction compared to Hives, and also in the corners. He's sending it pretty hard, but when it gets to the end of the straights, Hives just seems to have the advantage to the outside line now. Oh, there's contact! As I don't know what happened there, but he goes off the circuit. That was a very strange collision.
Yeah, I think Gijs just outbraked himself because I saw his tires locking, but it's hard to say something about it. Just hopefully, as Nifo is losing the back end into the fast right-hander, and Pro being very close now again, trying to line up an attack, but I think it's just a little bit too much now.
Fair enough. Well, hopefully nothing more happens with that collision. We'll have to see later on, but I don't think there's nothing really to be said. I don't know. It's such a shame for Riordi. He had so much pace in the car, but hasn't been able to make it work. He will have a great opportunity, though, in the main race, of course. Pro was right behind Nifojan. Nifojan trying to make back some progress to see if they can catch up to Luke. Out of all of that, they've managed to get in front of Riardi and the Aston. They now try and catch up to Luke, extending track limits a little bit, so they've got to be careful on that one, of course. Lap 4 of the 9, we still have a little way to go in this race. Can Nifo look for the podium? I don't think anybody's going to have a look at P1 and 2, because End Andrews and Zingy are loving this right now.
Yeah, Zingy and Andrews just benefited very well from the battling behind them, and yeah, they are just having a big gap at the moment, almost 4 seconds, which is just too much to bring that yeah, back. But let's see if Niffle can just close up the gap to Luke and maybe try and take the position of the Mercedes, as Zingy now puts in the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, Zingy commanding this one quite nicely. And Andrews isn't too far away, but in wet conditions, you have to be unbelievably close to be able to make an overtake. Otherwise, you can completely forget any chance at making a move. Nifajan is in a similar position, almost within a second, but they can't quite get there. They still got a few more laps to try and set it up, but making mistakes like that will not help them. I was going to say Egapro will be able to catch from that one, but he made a mistake himself as well, so he does catch a small amount, but not really enough. In the background, we still have Heisler and Riardi. Heisler has a time penalty. Maybe with the car behind him, he's feeling a bit of pressure, possibly. I don't quite know, but I think we might have a bit of a battle on our hands in a bit, and that is Luke, unfortunately, making a mistake, and that's going to be a safety car in the sprint race. A safety car.
Ooh, that can switch up things very nicely, maybe. Maybe Andrews want to go for a new set of inters, but I don't know, because I think Niffle will stay out and communicate with his teammate and take P1 and P2, as track position is very crucial at the moment, of course, being on those wet conditions. And yeah, as we already saw, it's very hard to overtake, so I think everyone is going to stay out, but we'll see.
Fair enough. Well, that is unfortunately Luke out of that one, and they leave the session, so not sure if they'll be back for the main race or not. We'll have to wait and see, of course. Zingy leads the way, and I mean, it's not going to take us long to get a restart going. Of course, we'll have about a lap and a half to go. That is actually Riardi into the pit lane. He gets a 5 second as he tries to go into the pit lane for fresh inters, so that's kind of counteracted itself now, and that is not what we want to see. Would he want to go for a second pit stop? I don't think so. But yeah, that's now going to be a slightly worn set of intermediate tyres. Now not going to be on the car, but oh, he did have damage. I didn't realise that. Okay, fair enough. That makes sense, but now that time penalty is going to be pretty annoying for him right now.
Yeah, that time penalty screwed him over a bit, because now he's of course on new tires, which is beneficial for him. But yeah, with 5 seconds it will be hard to overtake someone and then gain that as well in those few laps we have. But now he has a new front wing and he can drive a little bit better, of course, so we hope he can make the best out of it.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely show what he can do. The matter of the fact is, there are 6 drivers, so there's not going to be too much to be in his way to try and make his way up the order. So he can still try and make moves. It's just, yeah, he will start the main race in 6th position. That being said, it is into conditions, so you're not going to have any assist from DRS advantage, of course. Lots of words jumbled up there. I do apologise for that one. So he still leads the way. Tyre situation, everyone's pretty much the same, except from Riardi, of course. Other than that, there's not really too much to say strategy-wise. You're just going to be pushing with everything. Now, in this game compared to the last game, I will say you actually use ERS a little bit more than you did in the past. So, Cohen, in the wet conditions, does ERS actually help you make overtakes, or is it just kind of a bit of a pace advantage? It's just a little bit of a boost?
Yeah, I think it always will be a little bit of boost, because it gives you that extra horsepower, of course. But yeah, the difficulty in the rain is just there's such less grip, and it's hard to outbrake someone without locking, and you don't want to crash someone out, of course. But yeah, if you can be conservative on the ERS and then also keep up with the pace, you might get an overtake. But I think the main thing is you want to push someone else into a mistake so you can just overtake them. I think that's the best thing to do in the rain.
Yeah, for sure. After the opening stint of the race, everybody kind of spread out a little bit. And then we got the safety car, so everybody's going to get a second opportunity. It's an AlphaTauri 1-3, both on the podium as of now. That could definitely change. We've got now, well, we did have 2 Mercedes, 2 AlphaTauris and 2 Astons on the grid. Unfortunately, Sidewinder won't be here for a couple races. They'll be back later on in the season, but they're not going to be here for at least a couple of races. But, you know, we have a couple of full teams for the time being, of course. But Zingy leads the way. His championship is looking pretty nice at the moment. Nifojan's still there, and he doesn't have the ability to just relax because Nifojan can easily catch up. But at the moment, this sprint race is just being a little bit of an advantage to him, of course. There's not much of a difference if you get P1, P2, P3. It's only 1 point difference, but everything does help, and Zingy's going to be loving that.
Yeah, so I have a question for you. Of course, Andrew won the last 2 races. Will Zingy now back up Andrews into forcing a mistake and Nifo trying to overtake him? Because Andrews is a potential threat for Zingy, of course, in this race win.
Yeah, of course, it's a possible opportunity, and I think they'll definitely be communicating, so they're going to give each other a countdown, I assume. So we can expect to see both Alpha Tauris getting away pretty evenly compared to the other cars. Zingy's already gone for it. Nifo reacts pretty nicely compared to End Andrews, and you can see, you called it right there. You see, End Andrews doesn't react too well to Zingy. He's still going to make sure he doesn't screw up the next couple of corners, because otherwise he's going to be in big trouble. Nifo can't really react too much because obviously you can't make an overtake until you get to the line, but he still did react pretty nicely. He's so close to the back of that Mercedes. Looks like he's even pushing for a move. Not yet. Maybe into the chicane though, but that was a brilliant restart from both AlphaTauris there.
Yeah, Zingy helped Nifo, but Nifo's going for the overtake into this corner, side by side with Andrews now, leaving a space on the inside, of course, and they are still going side by side. Will they drag on this to the straight? I think they will. Both pushing on the ERS as Nifo is a tiny margin ahead. Will he get first into Brooklands? Or, I mean, yeah, Brooklands. Oh, on the outside, AlphaTauri going off track. I hope he doesn't get any warning from that, and still going side by side. This is absolutely insane as Nifo takes the move now.
Brilliant stuff. Once again, Nifo now finds the inside line to that corner, and that's where you make that move. We see Riyadi having a look on his teammate already as he's made that move on Heischler. So brilliant stuff here, switching all around, and he's going to go side by side into the S's. Is he really going to try and make it work? They're holding it side by side. Igapro isn't going to give it up, but now to the inside line, Riyadi will go. Igapro's going to have to let him go ahead for now. Will he get a better exit? I don't think so. He's going to have to sit behind and wait. He's got a lot of straight line speed in that car, and it looks like he is able to challenge, but just for now, he'll have to wait behind. That was a brilliant move there for Yardi, making it work as he needs to with this time penalty if he wants any chance of gaining from this. Lap 8 out of 9, we're about to start the final lap with Zingy getting that fastest lap. So yeah, it's a very tricky situation for Riyadi, but he's given it his best shot.
Absolute insane overtake by Riyadi as he was wiggling with his back end of the car. Maybe from excitement, maybe from thanking Eager Pro for leaving the space and the racing room, of course. But yeah, insane racing, that's what you want to see on this track. Especially
in the inter conditions, you don't get too much racing, so finding that is in a dry race incredible. So an intermediate condition race, that's absolutely perfect from him. And actually, Heischler has that 3-second time penalty, I believe. So that would be. Oh no, actually, Riyadi has an 8 seconds, so it's going to be pretty difficult for him to be able to get an advantage over that. If he was to get a 5-second advantage over Heischler, that was possible, but I was thinking if he did just have that 5-second, he might have had a go making progress, of course, but unfortunately, I think he'll have to just sit out for now. But that is Zingy leading the way by a nice margin, and it's going to be Nifo in P2 at the moment. We've still got a sector to go, but it looks like it might be settled here and now. Zingy taking a very, very nice win, or a pole position, and possibly, as he hasn't finished the race yet, a win as we head to the end of the sprint race already. It's gone pretty quickly, to be honest. But that is a brilliant job from Zingy. He comes around the final few corners and he is going to win the Great British Grand Prix, arguably his home circuit. Niffer in P2 and End Andrews just missing out on that P3 in the end. Riyadi will take it home in P4. Eager Pro will get that, and Heisler, of course, will get that as well.
Yeah, very well done by Zingy. I think they timed the safety car well together, and Nifogen taking that driver of today because, of course, going up 5 places, starting at the end of the grid and then taking P2 is very well done by him.
Yeah, very, very good job. That is Zingy taking the win. Nifojan P2 and Andrews in P3. Igor, Heisler, Riyadi and Luke DNFing. That is the results. I'm going to try and have a look at the race director, but I doubt it will let us look. We'll be back for the race. We'll see you in a bit. Ready? Hold! Go! Who's going to get it into turn 1? That is the AI car getting a very good start. Oh, and that is a big moment from End Andrews as he's going to lose out big time. Niffo to the outside line. He goes off the circuit. What is happening? That's an Aston round. That's Eager Pro having issues. What on earth just happened? Heisler making moves, and once again, Niffo goes right off the circuit. He cannot get a grip of this one right now. End Andrews to the outside line of Heisler. Is he going to be able to hold it? He will hold it, and he's going to get a pretty good run. It is a drag race into turn 6. That is End Andrews in front. He's actually in provisional P2, but very distracting from the AI car of Luke, of course. Katana right behind us. He joins late into the session as a reserve, so he's going to try and get something in on this. Riyadi sitting in P6, so he doesn't lose or gain anything from that one, but that's Nifojan having some big issues off the restart, and Eager Pro spinning out. I don't think anybody's got damage though, so they're good to go.
Yeah, I really don't know what happened at the side from Nifojan, but everything goes wrong. He got that 3-second time penalty as well. Could be 3 warnings at one spot, but I hope it is. But let's hope he can get back to the guys in front. As we see, Riyadi and Katana and Gijs going side by side with the 2 of them now going into Stowe. As Katana is on the inside of his teammate, really making it worth and makes the overtake. Very well done.
Brilliant job, and Riyadi manages to spot the opportunity, almost has a look at the car in front as well. Heisler making a mistake, slightly tapping the car in front, but he manages to get away with it. He won't gain anything from it. That is Neferjan into the pit lane, so maybe they had damage from that. I'm not quite sure. We'll have a quick look, and then we will, of course, hop on to the other cars just to see if they do have to go into the pit lane for a new front wing. They do. So there must have been a bit of a collision between some of the other cars, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think at the start it's just very difficult to keep it clean, especially in the rain, of course. Yeah, the only thing that Nivo can bring back in this race is a safety car. But yeah, let's hope he can just continue right now, and maybe he gets a bit of luck, and we'll see what he can do, of course.
Yeah, in wet conditions, a safety car is very possible. You can see quite a few drivers with their rear sticking out on many corners. We are very, very quick in a straight, or on exit, I should say, but lagging back all of a sudden. As I think that was him lagging back there because he lost that position now to Luke, of course. But yeah, that's not what we want to see. Anyway, he seems to have a lot of traction on the exits, so he's really good at controlling that. So very, very good job from him indeed. On the straights though, he just doesn't have the power to back it up, and it looks like everybody else is just managing to escape when it counts to try and make an overtake.
Yeah, it looked like Weardy's running a higher downforce setup, which is of course good in the rain because you have that extra stability and it makes you make less faults and less mistakes. But yeah, as the result of that, it's giving you the downside of just having no speed on the straights, and Katana is pulling out like around 1.5 tenths on the straight, so that's a downside. But I think he can keep up very well and probably go for a move sooner rather than later.
If you can set one up through a series of corners and absolutely send it, you probably can make an overtake, of course. And once you get ahead, it's going to be virtually impossible for the other cars to come back because they just won't be able to compete with you mid-corner if they were to go side by side. But still, it's a little bit of hard work to try and get the opportunity. But once you do have a go at a move, then it's probably going to be a lot easier. But so far, so good. Lap 3 out of 26. We've got a long way in this race, but already Zingy is a long way in front. A 3.6 second gap is absolutely incredible from him. So very, very well done. Riordi, though, is looking like they are going to be the closest one to maybe have a look at making a move on Katana. Katana joining late. So their setup, I think it does let them apply one, if I'm correct. If you've joined late, it might let you apply one. But yeah, so far, they've just come into this race completely cold, and they're doing a very good job to keep it on track.
Yeah, I have to say Katana's doing a very good job, just hopping into these difficult conditions and then running P3 as well, closing up to Andrews a bit as well. So he's doing a good job, and Andrews took 7 tenths out of Zingy this lap as Katana puts in the fastest lap now. So he has a lot of pace. That's very good to see.
Yeah, very, very good job from him. And all of a sudden the graphics kick in and now we've got raindrops on the screen. Very, very random. I do apologise for that moment. That was a bit weird. Zingy leads the way by a very nice margin, and Andrew's just trying his best to keep with Zingy. But at the moment, Zingy doesn't need to worry. He can just control the pace. He doesn't even need to bother at standing or worrying about anybody closing up to him at the moment. He's got a decent gap, so he can just relax, not get any warnings. Nifojan going absolutely mad on the pace as he gets the fastest lap so far of the race. He has made that pit stop now. Would Nifo not need to go to the pit lane again? I think they probably would.
Well, Zingy almost loses it into Cop's corner. Just very sorry for that, but it was a very marginal. As you see, and Andrews is just closing up within like a second he lost there, I think. I just wanted to say that it looked like Zingy is just very one with the car, having not a lot of oversteer or understeer moments, but as I wanted to say that, he just got a very big moment.
Yeah, that's something that you get when you're on your own. You can have all the advantage in the world, but all of a sudden you have a lack of concentration because no one's behind you, and then all of a sudden you've lost it all. So he's got to be careful about that. It's kind of like the dominance effect. You get so confident that you end up making a big mistake because you've got no pressure. So some pressure is always pretty nice to have, of course, as long as it's not absolutely mega pressure. Katana sitting in P3 behind and Andrews, as we saw them gaining slightly earlier on. Weardi, I thought he was going to be able to catch, but since then the gap's kind of just equalized, stabilized. It just sits where it is for now. So that is End Andrews, Katana and Weardi having a very constant gap between themselves. Eichler losing out a little bit, but still managing to stay in this race. I don't know if they got any damage from the start, because it was a pretty hectic one for sure. Eager Pro as well, similar situation to Eichler. I'm not entirely sure what happened there. Nifajan, of course, making that pit stop. But still, that gap between Katana, Weardi and End Andrews, in no particular order, is very constant.
Yeah, this top 4 is closing into each other. Weardi is now taking a couple of tenths out of Katana, as Katana took out in the first 2 sectors on, and then who's losing a bit now, but it's stabilizing. At some points people are making mistakes, and it's yeah, everything can happen at the moment. And Andrews is closing up to Zinga, I have to say. It was 3.7 I think 2 laps ago, and it's now 1.7, so he's doing a very good job.
Fair enough, he's doing a pretty good job so far. Still a long way to go, lap 5 out of 26. Just a quick response to the live stream chat. Yes, you can join. There should be a link tree. If you go to the home page of the YouTube channel, you'll be able to find all the useful links that you need to get involved in racing, of course, and we'll try and get you in for next weekend, if possible. Zingy still leads the way. 2 seconds, though, as he slowly starts to lose it now. It's an interesting one. If you go back to Singapore in F1, as End Andrews has a big moment, if you go back to Singapore, Zingy had a lot of pace at the beginning of that race. Sure, End Andrews was having to fight with Rouleton at the beginning as well, but all of a sudden, later on into the race, End Andrews, he picked it up. He got quicker and quicker and quicker, and Zingy couldn't find an answer to it. That might be down to a possible setup situation. I know End Andrews is very good at getting setups very right. He does like to go very different compared to other drivers. So when other drivers are having problems, he might not have a problem as much so. So right now, it's not looking bad at the moment. He might be able to find pace later on in this race, and you never know. He could even try and go all the way on the intermediate tyres. Although around a circuit like this, which is notorious for really eating your tyres, I doubt that's going to happen.
Yeah, Silverstone eats Inters or whatever tyre for breakfast. And what's really, what a really good quality from End Andrews is that he can manage the tyres very well. His tyre degradation isn't as high as from other people, as Katana puts in another fast lap and is getting very close to the rear end of End Andrews. So yeah, Katana doing a very good job. I didn't expect that from him, so maybe that's a mistake from me, but he's doing it very good now.
Katana catches up to End Andrews, and Weardi doesn't actually lose too much time to Katana by doing so. There was about a 7/10 gap, so maybe Weardi is in a pretty good position at the moment as well. That is unfortunately Nifajan taking it for a quick spin. So their day has been pretty hard so far, and it's not getting better at the moment. But of course, there's still a long way to go. And like I said earlier on, the intermediate conditions can definitely bring out a safety car. It's going to be a long race, but if you stay in it, you might just get something out of it, of course. And Andrews now, he's trying to get that gap back to a sub 2 second gap. He does have pressure behind from Katana in the Red Bull, and also of course Weardi is there. He's lost a little bit into Maggots and Beckett's, but I think he might be able to find it at some point soon, but he still is quite close by.
Katana now in the slipstream of End Andrews is pushing with the ERS, trying to make the move. Is he going to dive into the inside? Yes, he is. Is he going to make that overtake? He already has done it. That's insane. He just finds grip where no one else does, and now he's going to hunt after Zingy if he possibly can.
Very good job. He managed to get the exit down the straight, and Andrews realised, okay, he's having a look. He's going to go for it. Then he realised, all right, you're alongside. I'm going to let you go. At the moment, they cannot afford to lose time to Zingy. I know we've got a long way to go in this race, but he has to make sure that he cooperates, because otherwise he's going to lose out big time and have no chance at going for a win. Katana, well, seemingly was quicker than End Andrews for a while just earlier on. They have had to make that move, so they lost a bit of time to Zingy, but now, all of a sudden, End Andrews in the dirty air. He's not liking this while sat behind Katana. He's going to have to take a little bit of time to adjust. But in the meantime, while that's happened, it seems like Zingy's maybe picked up the pace, or the gap is still just trying to stabilize at the moment.
I think Zingy is trying to manage it as good as he can, but it's just very difficult in these conditions because a mistake is easily made, and that can twist the gaps very easily. But I think Katana just wants to push towards Zingy now, as I see him really smashing on that throttle pedal, trying to close the gap as much as he can, and he's doing a good job at it.
Very good job. He manages to catch up as soon as they see he wasn't catching up, so I appreciate that very much. Thank you very much for that, Katana. Zingy is still holding a nice lead, and of course, he's very difficult to overtake. He's very good at defending. He's very good at overtaking as well, for that matter. So it's not going to be easy. Even if you get close to Zingy, it will be so difficult to make an overtake in the intermediate conditions. Not only will you get dirty air, but you just won't have the ability to outbrake somebody that much without going off the circuit yourself, of course. End Andrews losing big time to the car ahead, and he's actually going to be in trouble from Riyadi if he's not careful. Very different lines between both drivers. Riyadi taking a very wide line to try and keep it flat, whereas End Andrews is maybe doing a slight lift to keep it tight to the corner. Either way, it's working, but no! End Andrews is out of the race! I do not believe it! He is out of the British Grand Prix, and that is a safety car! No way! No way did that just happen!
I can't believe it. He just lost it very easily, and then there's a big runoff at the circuit, but he has so much speed, he just loses his right tire as well. And this is exactly what Nifo needs. So, where something bad happens for someone, something good happens for someone as well, but this is not what you want to see, of course, for End Andrews.
No, that was absolutely incredible. I did not expect that, honestly. That was very sudden. That's now a podium position for Yardi, as both Mercedes are out of this race. Absolutely insane. That's good for Zingy, as he now has one less car to worry about. He does have his teammate, though, who will now be able to catch up a little bit, so he's got to be careful with that one. Would you want to go for a pit stop now? I think so, and I think you probably want to try and go all the way to the end. But, Cohen, I don't know if you know this, but Riyadi, he pitted in the sprint race. Does that mean he's going to have to use a set of old tyres now?
I think that is. I think he will get onto those tires, yes, but he only drove like two laps on it, so the tire difference will not be that big. But yeah, still, they are used, of course. Couple of tire wear percentage, I think around 5 maybe 6, 7. But I have to watch. Maybe I don't know if you can see that somewhere, but yeah. No, we already is on new tires as well, so it's all equal.
Fair enough. So it's going to be all to play for. Everyone into the pit lane. Heisler actually had damage, so that explains why he was dropping so far back before, but he had to stay out, otherwise, I guess he'll just lose so much time to the other cars, and it would be virtually impossible for him to catch back up to Eager Pro, I guess, because he'd lose that position. Unfortunately, we're going to have the ghost car of Luke sat in P4, so that's going to be a little bit of a problem, but hopefully nothing too much. Katana getting a time penalty under safety car conditions. That is such a shame. Easily done when you're just trying to go slowly. You lose a bit of concentration, and there you go. That's what happens.
Yeah, easily done. I've done it myself a couple of times as well, so not going to judge him. It's very sad, but he has to live with it right now and just try and overtake Zingy after the safety car restart. But as we all know, Zingy is the king of restarts on safety car conditions, and we saw that in the sprint race and probably see it right now, but maybe Katana can be as sharp as a knife and try to be as close as possible.
I like that one. That was a good one. Zingy leads the way, and he's got a while behind that safety car as his teammate will be catching up within a couple of laps. At this point in the race, as a driver, you need to make sure that you're on top of your fuel levels. And in that situation, you'll probably want to burn a bit of fuel. And that sounds a little bit counteractive, but in this game, generally you save quite a lot of fuel, especially under the safety car, so you're going to have to try and work your way to burn it. And also, in wet conditions, it's so hard to keep your tyre in an operating window temperature-wise. So you have to just kind of focus on fuel. You can slightly weave your tyres to warm up, but other than that, you're not really going to have that much of a benefit because where you gain temperature in a wet tyre is by going fast, and you can't go fast under safety car conditions. The only other option really is to spin up the tyres. You're going to get a bit of extra wear, but actually around Silverstone, where you do generally seem to get more front tyre wear, that might not be a bad idea. So we could see a couple of drivers going, not sideways, but, you know, doing some very small drifts before we get going on the safety car restart, as it looked like Zingy almost even had a look at doing that kind of thing. Yes, he is. He's doing exactly that right now. So there. Very, very good stuff. Nifo will catch up, and then we'll be going racing on lap 12 out of 26.
Yeah, as you said, it's hard to keep those tires into a good temperature window. Of course, normal tires, like the mediums or the softs, you want them to be like 90 degrees. But these inters, you can manage them around 75, I think. With the wet, it's a different story. But as you see, Zing is taking very wide lines to make as much turning with his steering wheel to generate heat, and then throttling it very short and hard to generate those temperatures.
Yeah, it's very, very tricky to get right. You can see they are weaving, and it's what you have to do, but it can get very, very treacherous if you push it a little bit too hard. All of a sudden, the rear will be gone, and you'll be in the wall, and then you'll be very embarrassed because you've just crashed out under safety car conditions. Hopefully, no one does that. We haven't got too much longer under safety car conditions, and we will be going for the restart. Everybody's going to have to try and spin up their rears while they can. Otherwise, you'll get the call-in message, and the pit lane limiter will be there. Now the pit lane limiter is on. You're going to have to go down the gears to try and maintain those revs, of course, so you can stay in the race. But Zingy, you know what he's doing? He's waiting a lot. He's going so slow. He's about to call it to his teammate, and he's going to go for that restart. There you go. He's done it. He's done it already. Heichler's still warming up his tyres, as Zingy had already gone for it. So that's a big, big problem for Nifo behind, because he's going to have to wait for Heichler now. Katana gets away not too badly. Riardi's pretty close behind. Not going to have a chance to go for it yet, of course, because he has to wait until the line. But yeah, that is pretty crazy. Pro wasn't able to really react too well, and he's under mercy of Luke, who is an AI car, so he can't overtake that AI car, which is an absolute tragedy. But Zingy getting a perfect start. Heichler and Pro switching positions, as that's... Ooh, what happened? Heichler down the order.
Pro and Heichler... Pro tagged along with the rear tire, I think, from Gijs, and that made Gijs spin. Pro, I think he does not have damage because it was like a little tangle, but this is not good for Nifogen as well, because he's losing big time towards the front three at the moment, and he will try and make the overtake now on Pro, I think, into this corner, into the left-hander, taking the outside, really keeping it close, and then he's fine. I think he already does it. As Pro is sticking it around the outside as well, maybe going for the switchback. No, the traction is just too low for that, as Nifo makes the move.
They first had a while on their own to clear their thoughts at the back of the pack and just try and focus on themselves. They've done it, and now they have a lot of pace in that car. You see them make an incredible overtake on circuit, and now they're going to try and hunt down the top three. They've got about 5 seconds to the car in front, the next car in front, of course, because Riardi is the next one. Luke is just a ghost car. We do have Riardi right behind Katana. He was using a bit of energy to try and go for an overtake. Not far away from Zingy, but makes a mistake, and that is going to be Riardi on his way through. Katana, is he going to fight back? He sticks his nose into the inside and tries to keep it. Will he be able to get it round the outside? Surely not. Surely not. No, he's too aggressive on the throttle, and that is going to be a 360 from him. He manages to keep it out the wall, and he's going to be on the racing line, which is not what you want to see, but just about ghosts, and everybody else can avoid him.
Yeah, Katana was just a bit too greedy over there. You want to warm up the tires, but not like that, of course. As he's now fallen to P5, and yeah, he lost his battle to Zingy and Weardy. He's now on the back of Eager Pro and Nifogen, trying to close that gap again, but it will be very difficult now.
For sure, very, very, very tricky stuff in this race. Lap 13 out of 26. We've got about halfway of the race remaining, more or less. You know what I mean. Nifojan now has a clean run to the cars ahead, and possibly not a legitimate time penalty. So that could be an advantage. Side by side, almost looking between Eager Pro and Katana. Katana seems to have found their mojo already as they try and claw everything they possibly can back from being in P2 and looking close to Zingy, maybe even fighting for the win. Right now, it's not going to be possible. Later on, never say never, but he wants to try and have a look at Eager Pro. Eager Pro manages to get a pretty good exit. He has pace in a straight line. Is he going to push for it into Stowe? No, he's going to have to wait behind for now.
Yeah, Katana trying to make the move on Eager Pro, using the ERS, of course. It looks like he has a good setup for the straight line, I have to say, as Zingy puts in another fastest lap, but Weardy takes it away immediately. As we see Katana now lining it up for the finish straight, but I think he will stay behind for now, as Weardy also gets a 3-second time penalty. That's not good. That ruins his chances maybe for the win now.
Absolutely tragic, although you did say earlier on in qualifying Zingy was struggling with track limits a little bit, so that could change of course later on, but at this point now Zingy can kind of relax. It looks like he's relaxing a little bit too much though, because all of a sudden Weardy has caught up and he might be able to pressurize Zingy into a mistake.
Yeah, we already taken that 3 seconds, which is not ideal, of course, but everything is possible. And as you said, yeah, track limits are very difficult. So Zingy has to make only one mistake, and they will be on the same level again. But Weardy is absolutely having the pace at the moment, as he's just closing up very rapidly.
Doing a very good job. Would he want to go for an overtake this lap? I think sooner rather than later is better, because that time penalty is so difficult, of course, to break away with, that he has to make a move now and try and break away with it. You said earlier on he had a higher downforce setup. Seems like he's using a lot of energy to try and catch up to Zingy, as that is unfortunately Eager Pro off. Katana will make that move. Eager Pro will still stay in this race, but that's not what we want to see. The other Aston Martin very close to the race leader, and he knows what he's got to do. He's just got to try and make it work.
We already taking another fastest lap, as they are both pushing to the absolute limit. You can just see it how they're driving, taking a bit of wide lines sometimes, a little bit of out braking and locking up. But yeah, it's all fine, and we are just finding so much pace. It's looked like Zingy is chilling a bit too much because of Weardy having the 3 seconds, but he still has to push, because if Weardy overtakes him, I think he's capable of pulling a 3-second gap. So Zingy has to be on his toes.
For sure. And also, he needs to consider not fighting Nifojan, because... not Nifojan. He needs to not consider... No. Okay, let me just start this again. Also, he needs to consider not fighting Weardy, because if he does that, Nifojan might be able to catch up. He's not catching up to the top two at the moment, but if they did decide to go side by side, then he's going to be in big trouble. Zingy taking cops pretty nicely for this time around in the race. It's not too bad. Of course, he's managed to get on top of those issues during qualifying, but a brilliant line, and he manages to secure a lovely exit, going to use all the energy. The inside line is covered by Zingy, as we constantly see him cover that inside line. Is it going to be enough, though, the outside for Riardi? He's going to look for the switchback, then to the inside line. No, Zingy's going to go defensive into the braking zone, still looking for the opportunity by sticking his nose in, but it's not going to work out. A very good effort here from Riardi, and Zingy, he was, well, had a lot of pressure on him, didn't he? But just about hold on.
Yeah, Riardi just trying every opportunity and trying to make a switchback. Maybe he can dive on this corner, which we already saw him do in the sprint race, but he's still staying behind Zingy and being very close. So there probably will be another attempt for a move, as Zingy is taking a wide line and Riardi just trying to cut it as close as possible. So two different type of lines, as they both are still pushing very hard. Riardi has a little bit of advantage on the ERS for the moment being.
Very good job from him so far, so well done. As that is Zingy, he's still ahead, of course. You can just see how difficult it is to overtake Zingy, let alone in the wet conditions. So yeah, it's not exactly easy, and he's going to have another opportunity very soon. Also, talking about opportunities, it looks like Katana might have a look at Nifojam soon, because he's pretty close, not to be honest. So fair play to him. He still needs to find a bit more time if he wants to actually be a threat, because you need to be within like what 2/10 to actually make an overtake, otherwise you're not going to have a chance. ERS wise is going to be blasted for Riardi this time. Is he going to have a look to the outside line? Is he going to try and force it to the inside? He will go to the outside line. Wants to have another go at a switchback on Zingy. Keeps a very, very tight apex this time. Is now going to look for the inside. No! Outbreaks him into the chicane. Now to the inside line. He goes on the traction. Who will have it? Riardi should have the advantage on the inside. Zingy goes off the circuit. That is the Aston into the lead. And that is an epic move from him. A very, very compromised line though. Through turn one, Zingy's going to get a great opportunity. He'll now have the outside line into 3, 4, 5 and 6. I'm way off on the corner numbers, but almost contact as he just about avoids it. Side by side still. Through turn 5 now as they run down the DRS straight. No DRS, so it is a drag race between the two. Looks like Riardi has the advantage, but the inside line is available to the AlphaTauri. Can the champion prove he's still got it? Or will the rookie be able to get in front? It looks like he's got it now. Brilliant job there. Oh no! He's off! I don't believe it! I do not believe it! He just about keeps it out of the wall. And he will stay in this race. That was absolutely incredible.
How has he managed to keep that on track? I don't know how he did that. He took the race lead for a short moment, and hopefully he can get back to Zingy for his sake and try and move again. But he has a couple of moments. Probably the tires are a bit too hot now from the big oversteer moment.
Yeah, that was absolutely incredible. Maybe got a bit excited as he was now in clean air, tried to push, and that maybe just happened. It can happen sometimes if you all of a sudden make a move. You're now really happy with yourself, but you ruin it straight afterwards. He'll still have plenty of opportunities. Lap 17 out of 26. Got about, I'm going to say 9 laps, I think, is that, of this race remaining. So he's got a while. He's got about a whole sprint race to try and make a move, which isn't too bad, of course. Still, Zingy has the advantage. Time penalty-wise and track position, almost another mistake there from Riardi. So the traction was his friend earlier on, but this time it seems like he's just lost the momentum, making a couple too many mistakes.
Yes, I think Eager Pro is off. Yes, he is. At sector 3, trying to go back on the circuit again as the AI of Luke is overtaking him. But yeah, as you said, you can be very happy if you make an overtake. It was a good one as well. Going side to side with a LSI champion is not that easy, but he did it very well, and now he just wants to gain that time back and try and make a strategy and attack Zingy again.
Yeah, for sure. And I think even though even though the time penalty difference will kind of decide what's going to happen. It's not going to be that straightforward, of course, because I think Zingy will want it on track anyway. So, yeah, fair enough. Alrighty. So, Zingy leads the way. Lap 18 out of 26. We've got this other battle possibly going to come around. I'm trying to juggle which one we need to go for, of course, because they're both pretty close, P1 and 2, and P3 and P4. They're going to be trying to battle each other at some point soon, I'm sure. But no one can seem to find the edge on the other driver just yet. Although Riardi has managed to gain back a bit more time and close that gap up quite nicely. Still, I think both drivers are going to want it on track. So I don't think Zingy's going to want to give it up, even if he has the advantage on time penalties. You never know. He might be on 2 warnings right now and not really wanting to risk it. That is another 3 seconds.
Yeah, I wanted to say that the battle between Katana and Nifo was equal in time penalties, but now Nifo takes another time penalty, which is very unfortunate. But as you say, don't think Zingy wants to give up his P1, because there's something called honor, and I know he wants that win on track and not being behind someone with a 3 second time penalty. And I think that's the same for Riardi. He just wants to go for P1 and make your name big in this server.
Yeah, of course. It's definitely what you want, and it's what they're fighting for at the moment. The win, it looks like it is not decided, but definitely favoured towards one driver. The time penalties suggest that. However, from what qualifying showed us, it's very easy to get warnings, whoever you are, and it's the track limits. So Zingy could be under threat from that anyway. And that's maybe why he's pushing as hard as he is. There's 2 possible reasons why he's doing that, and that is another fastest lap there from Riardi. That's why the Inter tyres can go for so long. They have the pace throughout as he looks to the inside line, trying to shake Zingy up a little bit, but he's not phased. He does not care. He thinks, nah, you're not going to be able to make that move. I'm not going to leave any space anyway, so you can go away politely. Zingy manages to hold on to the lead, so lap 20 out of 26, counting down those laps. And at the moment, he's enjoying this probably, but he's still got a lot of pressure, of course. Riardi is just full of frustration at the moment. He just wants to get through.
Yeah, Riardi is taking those fast laps very easily, so he get that provisional point. You get, of course, taking the fastest lap, and he wants to go for that. As Zingy has a little moment into Kop's corner, and yeah, Riardi is going to close up again into Maggots and Beckett's, and will he line it up again in Chapel as he did while overtaking Zingy on the first time? As he does it again, yes, he's lining it up very well, really pushing it on the ERS. Zingy as well, and then Riardi is almost side by side. Is he going to do it into Stowe? He's putting it on the outside, really has that speed, insane. Someone crashes, I don't know who, but still Riardi going for that inside line as Zingy hangs it out on the outside. And again, Riardi with the switchback. This is insane stuff.
Absolutely mega, very well done. I'm surprised he managed to get that switchback done in the final corner. I thought Zingy had it, but no. Manages to prove us otherwise, and that is Riardi into the lead. A very, very good overtake. He got to be, or he had to be, very, very creative with that move. He showed us what he could do, and he's got it done, and Zingy is now going to be left puzzled. And what just happened? He was sent to the shops. And yeah, he's got a lot to try and do to try and catch back up. He can stay within time penalty range and still secure this win, but now Riardi is in clean air. Would he possibly be able to break away? It really depends. Losing the car on the rear, once again, he's got to make sure he doesn't get too trigger happy with that throttle, otherwise he's going to be back to square one. Nifo, Jan and Katana behind. They're pretty close. They're going to want to try and entertain us on screen, I'm sure, but so far they can't really switch up too much at the moment. And of course, Nifo-Jan has more time penalties than Katana, so at this stage he doesn't actually need to bother fighting.
As one of the Aston Martins takes the lead, the other one unfortunately retires. Eager Pro was just driving at the back of the grid, and yeah, these last 5 laps, I don't think there will be any safety cars anymore. And it will just be straight up fighting between Weardi and Zingy, and Nifo and Katana. As Katana is being very close, makes a little mistake into Stowe, but yeah, manages to stay behind very nicely. And Weardi takes another fastest lap as he makes that gap grow a little. It's 7/10. He wants to be aggressive, but not too aggressive, as you say, because if you trigger that throttle too much, yeah, you will lose it again.
Definitely you will. He's loving this at the moment, so fair enough to him. As he's got that 6/10 gap, it's not enough for Zingy to be able to make an overtake, but it's not exactly a gap that you can relax too much. Zingy seems to be pretty quick in a straight line behind, so he's making sure that Weardi knows he's there and he's not going to let him relax at all, of course. So yeah, fair enough to him. The Aston Martin leads the way. Will the Aston Martin team get a win at the home Grand Prix? That is the question. Or will AlphaTauri be able to continue their, well, I say dominance. They've actually lost a couple races in the past. Will they be able to continue their great season, of course, and get back to the top step of the podium?
A home Grand Prix for a win for Aston Martin, and I think a debut win for Weardi as well, which is quite impressive. And he's putting in a purple sector 2 again, so he just keeps pushing and trying to sharpen those fastest laps. Yeah, Zingy managing the gap pretty well at the moment, but he drained his battery quite much. He's on 10% at the moment, as Weardi has a lot more than that. So maybe Weardi has just push on the ERS now to make that gap grow and try to pull out those 3 seconds, which will be very difficult, because yeah, Zingy is just not a little pushover.
Definitely. Lap 23 out of 26, starting to run out of laps, so he's really got to think, okay, when am I going to pull the pin? When am I going to go for it? He might already be trying to go for it and just size up a couple of moves, but sometimes, if you push the car hard, you might over-push it and make mistakes, and that's what some drivers do manage to fall up on, and Zingy, I don't think he's falling up on that right now, so he should be good to go, but Weardi seems to have a lot of pace, especially in the latter stage of this race, doing a phenomenal job and getting a stream advantage. So very good job into Cop's corner. Let's watch how he takes this one and see. Very good so far. Very nicely done on the traction, not traction, track limits. There you go. Very good job from him. Nifo-Jan, he does have pressure from Katana behind, but Katana gone from a 6/10 gap to now an 8/10 gap. That could change later on, but it seems like it might be starting to kind of solidify itself at this stage.
Yeah, Zingy and Katana are both in the same position, because the driver ahead of them has a 3-second time penalty more than they have, and they both just want to manage that gap and don't lose those seconds. But that's easier said than done, because as you see, Weardi is now pushing on the ERS and he's trying to break away as much as he possibly can, and he's putting another fastest lap again. Yeah, and Zingy just drained that battery a bit too soon, I think, and now he just he has to live with that and try and push as much as possible on the tires.
For sure, very well said. It's absolutely incredible putting those fastest laps in. Zingy manages to catch up about 2/10 as they start the not penultimate lap, but the penultimate lap on lap 24. So good stuff from him. Is he going to be able to find it, though, to try and regain the lead of the race? Never say never. It's going to be such a difficult ask if he can get it done. Nifo-Jan sat in P3, and to be honest, they've had a pretty tough week so far. So to be able to have this pace and fight for the podium, they're doing a very good job to do so. So salute to them. Very good effort. Sat in P3 at the moment after a terrible start. They stayed in the race. They didn't retire. They didn't disconnect. And now they're fighting for a podium. And that is what you love to see. Nifo definitely deserves this chance to fight for the podium. Of course, time penalty-wise, it might not be the same. I believe he says that he wants to try and get one removed, as we see in chat, so thank you very much for that. But at this stage, he's just fighting for track position, so very good effort from him so far.
Yeah, Niffo drove an absolute crazy sprint race, and he did that very well in those conditions. He made 5 overtakes, which is absolutely insane. Something you don't see on a daily basis. I saw some differences in the lines Weardi and Zingy are taking. Zingy is taking very narrow lines and hitting the apex as much as possible, and then Weardi is just taking those wide lines and really, going for the exit, as you see now.
Yeah, that is absolutely incredible, and it definitely seems to be working for him, so very well done. Zingy does catch up the gap a little bit, of course. He's slowly gaining. He'll gain, according to what you said about the lines, he'll gain on the entry, and maybe if he can get the car rotated, he'll be able to gain on exit. But look at that. He gets on the throttle, and he's able to gain everything that he may have lost before. So as he heads to Copse Corner, is he going to make it 9/10? He will make it 9/10 immediately after losing about 3, even 1 second, as they made it to the entry of the corner. So definitely the difference in technique is extremely advantageous to the Aston Martin driver. So very good job from him. You can only use those kind of racing lines when you are ahead by a nice margin, though, because if you're not ahead, then you might allow the car behind to be able to go for an overtake. And with the intermediate conditions, this is what you definitely need to do. And he doesn't have Zingy that close behind him, so he can afford to do this as he's about to start the final lap of the race.
Yeah, Weardi is going to start that final lap of the race indeed, and the lines he's taking is usually you do them when there's a driver behind you and you want to gain as much speed as possible on the straights, which suits his setup, of course, because he has this high downforce, so he needs those extra high speed on the straight. So yeah, it's very nice to see how he's coping with that.
Yeah, very, very good job from him as he loses the car big time on turn 5. That could have been celebrating too soon there. We thought he was going to be able to bring it home, but almost had a big moment. Thinking still sat in P2, keeping that pressure on. Katana is now coming back on the final lap of the race to try and have a look at Niffo. Will they be able to give it a shot? They return from, I'm not saying the dead, but they were about over 1 second behind just a moment ago, so they almost had a look. Bit of a moment on the exit, so they're going to run out of opportunities on this part of the circuit, maybe into Stowe or into the final chicane. We might have a look, but at the moment it looks like it will be settled this way. Weardi's got a couple more corners to go as he goes purple in that middle sector, absolutely loving these interconditions. You can see from the line he was taking, he knows what he's doing. He's got experience in the wet conditions and it's working for him very, very nicely. Katana's not going to get close enough. We will focus on this guy. Weardi on debut will come round the final corner and he's going to win the Great British Grand Prix. But on time penalties, Zingy wins the British Grand Prix. A brilliant effort from both of these guys. A perfect drive. Nifojan is going to secure it on track in P3 there. Very, very good effort. And actually Katana, I think he's going to let him go, I think possibly. And he will sit in P4. Heichler is going to score nice points for Red Bull and take those 10 points home. And of course, Luke is a disconnected car, so he will not be scoring any points. But that is Zingy managing to hold on anyway. A brilliant effort from both of the top two. Very, very entertaining.
Yeah, as you say, the top two did a great job in a league of their own, including their pace and how consistent they were. We already had a couple of moments where he lost the car, of course, but that's just normal when you're driving in the rain. It's just, if you keep it on track somehow, it's all fine, and he did that. And I think he can be very happy with a performance like this.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant job. I think that will probably give him driver of the day, of course. He started pretty far down the order, making it back to P2. So a great drive. No, Luke, I will get driver of the day. I'm going to give it to Weardi, actually. So very, very good effort from him. So well done indeed. Or maybe even Nifo to get back to where they were. A great, great opportunity. Maybe even Katana, who actually started at the back of the grid and proved what he could do. We'll go through the results for the final time, of course. Here we go. As we're trying to get it on screen, there you go. Zingy takes the win. Riadi in P2. Then we got Nifo Jan in P3. Katana, Heisler for fastest lap. And then we got Luke in P6 as a disconnected car. DNFing earlier on was Eager Pro and End Andrews. Race director, just in case the game's frozen, we will still just about get it. Lovely stuff. Just in case we need to get this, pit stops as well. And we'll be back for the post-race interviews. We'll see you in a bit. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the post-race interviews of the Great British Grand Prix. Thank you very much for your patience. We are now here with Heish. Heish, that was a tricky race. You actually had damage for the first stint. Where did you get that damage?
Sorry, I drank something. I overtook Andrews on the outside of turn 1, which turned into turn 2. Just because, there was so much going on the first lap of the actual race. That was the only way I could go, but I got a legal overtake, so I was the kind guy and let him by again. Well, at least let him enough by to remove that message. And then I had to brake for turn 3, and Nifo didn't see me on the inside. I'm not saying that it's his fault, but he didn't see me, and we collided, with both losing our that side of the wing where we collided. And apparently it was an orange wing, so I don't know how I did it, but I kept it going.
Fair enough. That was a tough one, but of course, managing to get back in it after that safety car. It was a tricky race. Honestly, it's a tough one with the interconditions. Hungary, I've checked the weather.
I actually want to say something still from my race, because you didn't mention my safety car restart.
Oh, right, fair enough. Go for that one.
Igor did a mistake on the safety car restart. You could see that AI kind of hold me, Igor, and Nifo up, and he made a mistake coming out of the last corner, and I went the only way to the left to overtake him. I couldn't go to the right. Then I would have spinned myself, and he didn't leave that much space, and I think the contact model of this game kind of fucked me over. He touched with his rear wing my rear tires, with his front wing my rear tires, and that's spun me quite quickly. So that's sad. Could have been better maybe, but yeah, it is what it is.
That's painful. Still though, points on the table. You managed to bring it home.
The championship.
Yeah, after a tough one, and actually points over Mercedes. So very good job.
It's more over Igor and Luke. I'm more looking at that.
Fair enough. Brilliant job for the championship. Hungary, I checked the weather. It might be dry. I can't confirm that, but are you looking forward to that circuit?
I'm to a festival, so I'm not there.
Do you like that circuit?
Yes. No,
Awesome.
Actually, no, I don't.
Fair enough. Well, whenever we'll see you next time. Thank you very much for today. One last question. How would you describe your race in 3 words?
Kept it going.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Well done today. Great job.
Thank you.
And we move on to Nifo. Nifo, that was a tough one. Managed to get there in the end. A lot of action in the sprint race. In the main race, there was a bit of a moment on the start. I would like you to describe that, because I had no idea what was going on. Safety car came out, and you get a podium. Are you happy with that in the end, considering the situation?
I don't know. I just really don't know. I mean, I think all the trouble starts before the race with, having literally no practice, or I think max an hour with doing other stuff in between, and just, having like 2 hours of sleep doesn't really help, and the stress of whatever I'm doing at the moment is not helping as well. So, heading into quali, just instantly just try to test the limits and never found it. Always was over it. And when I was under it, I was way too much under it. So, tried a final time, didn't work. Just had a not a great lap. So you start from the back, which was, to be honest, I expected that already. The sprint was hectic, I guess, but it was fine from my side. It was some good racing, and in the end, I could help Zingy with trying to hold I wanted the position for myself as well, but the battling helped him as well, and gain P2 that way, so that was good. I think the real trouble, well, also the trouble starts at the race because I mean my start was unfortunate with me being concentrating on an AI car like going before the lights went off, so I didn't see the lights. I panicked, got on the throttle, got massive amounts of wheel spin, and then heading into turn one, yeah, I don't know, I haven't looked back at it yet, but I thought I left Anders enough room, and so we collided, so that gave me damage on my wing. I have to go off and rejoin the track because I mean I had nowhere else to go. I would have gone to the wall or gone off the track, so I could just go off the track, get a 3 second of that, which I think will be removed because of I didn't really get any time. I was trying to get back to positions, but before I could do that, I turned into the corner and there's a torpedo into my car, which was Gijs. I did look back at it. I think it wasn't a case of me not seeing him, but I'll leave that in the middle. Yeah, so I had 2 orange wings, so I just decided to pit, go for it, and I mean, yeah, I was struggling at the back, and then for the whole race, I was just praying for a safety car basically, not on Zingy of course, but for myself. It was unlucky for him, and then Anders, out of all people, makes a safety car, which was surprising. Yeah, from that point on, it was just trying to get back, overtake positions, people dying. Yeah, nothing really much to add. I got up to speed in the end, but I was way too tired to push as well. But it took way too long to get up to speed. I think with a bit more practice, it probably would have been better.
Regarding the situation, I think you've done a very good job. Obviously, you say practice-wise it was tough, and into conditions, getting a setup and then getting used to it is so tough.
Yeah, yeah, that as well. I forgot to mention that. I think my setup was way too low wing for the conditions. When I look at what other people were running, I was basically I was running half their wing, so I was basically sliding through corners.
Fair enough. I mean, there are 2 ways of making an intermediate setup. Maybe you chose the wrong way of doing it.
I did choose wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, still a very good effort. Hungary. Are you hungry for more there? Do you think you can do well? I think, personally, I don't know what you say, but I think that's a pretty good track for you.
I mean, it has been good to me in the past, so we'll have to wait and see how I feel there. Hopefully physically a bit better, and then I think if I get a bit more practice, it will hopefully be a better result than today.
Fair enough, fair enough. Thank you very much. One last question. How would you describe your race in 3 words?
Everything went wrong.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Well done today. Great effort.
Thank you.
And we move on to Zingy. Zingy, that is a race win. Very well done. Safety car restarts were nice. very nice. I didn't realise you could go for a restart that early. I thought the safety car would have probably screwed you over, but you timed it perfect.
Yeah, one little technique I use, and I managed. I won both races. I'm ecstatic. Yes, won the first time in a few weeks. I've actually enjoyed racing this game. That especially with Katana and Wiardi. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I do apologise, but the first race was quite simplistic. The safety car did complicate things a little bit, but I managed to get the gap out, so there's nothing really to talk about that. But the second race was something else. Of course, I was pulling away in first for quite a long time. Andrews makes his mistake, a safety car comes out. And then I've got Katana all over the back of me, so I'm sitting here worrying about getting a 3 second and Katana overtaking me. And then, obviously, the second driver to have an attempt at overtaking me was Wiardi, and he overtook me, fair enough to him, but I somehow managed to keep him at bay of penalty range, I should say. So it was tough. I am drained after that one, but I am so happy at the same time. It's amazing.
Were you a bit worried when he made that overtake that he might have got away, or do you think you had it under control?
No, I had it under control.
Fair enough. That's what we like to hear. Well done today. You have won your theoretical home Grand Prix. It's got blue on the flag for a reason, so you will take it, I'm sure.
Well, it's not America. America's my home race.
So, that is a brilliant job from you. Hungary is next. Do you think you can do well there at that circuit?
Honestly, yeah, I am quite hungry. Yes. No,
Fair
joke. I'm bloody starving, but no, oh god. Let's not recall last season. Not happened last season. I don't remember Hungary that very well, but this season I think is going to be a bit different. You said with the rain potentially being here, I think that I've got another chance of taking home the win, and I need to. I need to take the win again. Obviously, I'm going on holiday in a few weeks' time, and I'm going to miss a race. So, the more points, the better, and that's why I was so happy to get so many points, not for only for myself, but Niffle was there to get the constructors' points. So, it's looking good for both championships.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely going to want to secure a good result. Mr. Big Time going on holiday. Going to miss that one, but yeah. Well done today. Great effort. One last question. How would you describe your race in 3 words?
Conqueror of England.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Well done today. We still beat you though. Alright, thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you tomorrow for the F1.5 EU Championship. We'll see you next weekend for the Hungarian Grand Prix, a classic track. Other than that, once again, I will say goodbye. Goodbye.